Hakan Sukur will have to carry the bulk of the load up front, but in fairness, he dominates that Turkish lineup.
Yes, he's got 3 goals already in World Cup qualifying. He really is the leader of the attack, and Oktay really has been a great foil for him. They're certainly going to miss Oktay, but Hakan is the danger man.
There's your Welsh starting 11. Several stalwarts there, of course. Mark Hughes, the number 10, Dean Saunders, Ryan Giggs, but also a chance for some of the younger players to express themselves.
Yes, in fact,
officials of them all. Turkey in the white and red uniforms, the Welsh in green for the occasion, and Wales gets this match underway. Boos emanating from the home crowd as the Welsh try to build up. They're attacking the goal to our left. Early touch for Nathan Blake, the number 8. He'll be partnered by Dean Saunders up front. And Blake, involved in a lot of controversy in Welsh circles recently, decided that he didn't want to play for the national team a few months ago after what he construed as racist comments from coach Bobby Gould, but he has since recanted.
Yes, he's decided that he does want to play for the Welsh team. Now, Bobby Gould has apologised if his comments were misunderstood, and they've kissed and made up. And, of course, Nathan Blake, really, he is the future of this Welsh side. Mark Hughes and Dean Saunders, who are both excellent strikers, but really now sort of coming to the veteran stage of their career. So today, Nathan Blake will lead the attack alongside Dean Saunders. Mark Hughes is dropped into a midfield role, and Gary Speed is playing as the sweeper.
Here's Ilker, the number 2 for Turkey. Fenerbahce fullback, trying to work it through the midfield. To Lunay, feeding Arif, the number 7. Likes to play wide on the right up front. Turkey going with a 4-4-2 formation. Arif on the turn inside the box. Early test for the central defenders, Melville and Speed. Out to Ilker. Ilker in an advanced position. Safet. Here's Abdullah, who likes to go forward on the left flank. A very fluid team, the Turks. Oguz with a probing pass. And the run mistimed in the end by Arif, the number 7. The flag was raised. Early pressure on the Welsh defence.
Yes, it's going to be interesting to see how Wales handle this, because Ryan Giggs, the Manchester United winger, is actually playing as an attacking fullback today for Bobby Gould. It's a completely new look side. It's a new formation. He's certainly looking towards the future. And Ryan Giggs as an attacking fullback, it is an option that he wants to try today.
So it's 5-3-2 for Wales against a 4-4-2 alignment. And look at that, a giveaway and a wide-open opportunity. Saunders couldn't finish. Rustu in the right place at the right time, and the defense does the rest. What a let-off. Abdullah trying to turn defense into attack. Oh, a nervous moment for the Turkish back 4 players.
Well, Dean Saunders, who played here for a season with the Galatasaray, has said a few things in the media that's upset some Turkish officials, and he had a great opportunity there to score his 5th World Cup qualifying goal. Terrible defensive error, and the goalkeeper in the end came up big.
Safat trying to work the little move on the edge of the box. Oguz. Play continues, no foul. As they lay it back, and oh, a thunderbolt. Slicing wide, Arif was the man who got the shot in. The Welsh defenders perhaps guilty, Mike, of dropping a little too far back for their own good.
Yes, and both the attacks have come down the right-hand side for Turkey. Ryan Giggs has been caught out of position a couple of times, and as I say, it's a new position for him to be playing in. But that attack initially coming down with Arif.
A lively start to this World Cup qualifying match. This is Europe Group 7, Turkey against Wales. The Turks still have faint hopes of being in France next summer. Wales, however, out of the running as Blake tries to make his presence felt on the left wing. It's being marked by Bülent, the experienced central defender for Turkey. 28 years old, and Bülent gets the free kick.
I've seen a bit of a strange decision. It seems there that the defender's got hold of Nathan Blake's shirt, pulls him down. Free kick goes to Turkey.
A hometown decision by the Polish referee Marek Kowalczyk. Rustu, the goalkeeper. Bülent looking for options. Little flick by the captain, Oguz. A lot of the midfield play goes through him. Arif. Here's Oguz again. The Turks playing it in a triangle. The defenders funnel back. Arif. I know they could be onto something here. Arif cuts it back. And Hakan Suker gives Turkey an early lead. The Istanbul crowd loves it. Hakan with his 4th goal of the World Cup qualifying campaign. Turkey off and running.
Well, the attack again came down the right. Arif there playing that one across towards the far post, and Hakan Suker, his 4th goal in World Cup qualifying, sliding in there at the far post. Wales looking to play the offside trap. They got it all wrong. And Turkey there taking the lead with a goal after 5 minutes. Hakan Suker, so deadly in that 6-yard box. They look easy, but somebody's got to be there to score them, and he makes a habit of it.
Turkey 1, Wales 0. We've only been playing for a little over 5 minutes, but already a paucity of defensive play here. The two teams apparently in attacking mood. The Turks again with Arif, a dangerous player on the right flank. Really is an old-fashioned right winger, Arif. But Hakan was the man celebrating moments ago.
Yes, a real hero here. Plays on this stadium for Galatasaray. Had a spell over in Italy with Torino and just failed to settle. Certainly has rediscovered his touch since he returned to Turkey.
Nice to have you with us for our coverage of the roads to World Cup '98 here on ESPN. The free kick goes the way of Turkey. It'll be very interesting to see, Mike, how the Welsh deal with this 5 at the back alignment. Gary Speed, the sweeper.
Yeah, for a lot of these players, this is a completely new system. It's a system that Bobby Gould really believes in.
Hakan laying it off in midfield. See if they can test the defense again. Safet. And Safet did well to get the shot in. The defenders looking a little unsure of themselves, and Safet attempted to capitalize.
Yeah, a lot of indecision at the back at the moment for this Welsh side. They haven't settled in. Well, I'm sure that Bobby Gould wanted them to. And Safet there should have done a lot better.
These two teams with only 1 appearance each in World Cup finals play. They try to drift it all the way back to goalkeeper Rustu. As we mentioned, though, it's all about Turkey tonight. The pressure is on them. A victory is essential if they're to remain in the hunt for a qualifying berth next summer. Abdullah, the adventurous left back, plays for Trabzonspor. And this could be promising for Turkey again. Oh, wide open, and a second goal. Buried emphatically, Safet was the man who raced into that attacking position. Early trouble for Wales, but the Turks aren't complaining.
Well, this time Turkey went straight through the centre. It came off the foot there of Gary Speed and fell nicely for Safet. His first international goal. And he just slots this one past Neville Southall. This is only his 5th international appearance. But again, some indecision at the back. In fact, it wasn't Gary Speed that played it across. Speed, in fact, was the player who was trying to close him down. But you could have driven a double-decker bus through there. There was no defending at all in the centre of that defence from Wales.
The Welsh clearly trying to get to grips with this 5-3-2 formation. But Turkey sits pretty here at the Ali Sami Yen Stadium in Istanbul. A 2-0 advantage. I'm sure even their most fervent of fans would have expected that this early in the match. Melville's pass working with Savage. Little flick by Blake on that occasion. Now the Turks got a little tangled up. Blake is there. Savage with the feed. The defense doing its job very tidily. Robbie Page trying to force it down the left touch line. Ryan Giggs, the number 11, being shadowed by Ilker. As we mentioned, Giggs in an unfamiliar position. The second goal here scored by Safet for Turkey. There's the post-goal celebration. Earlier, Hakan Sukur finding the net. Being tackled by Ilker, the right fullback. And it will be a Turkish throw-in. What can the Welsh do now, Mike, to try to change the course of events? An appalling start by them.
Well, they've got to tighten up defensively, but they've also got to get their midfielders to start putting some authority on this game. Players like Savage and Hughes have got to get involved.
Abdullah's dangerous cross and headed behind by Gary Speed for the corner kick. Taking no chances. Speed, the 29-year-old Everton player, cutting across goalkeeper Southall.
Yes, and Gary Speed, very experienced. He's really got to organise a lot of these players with so little international experience around him. Neville Southall, very experienced, 92nd appearance today for Wales.
Abdullah with the in-dipping corner kick. They watch it very carefully at the back. Could have gone anywhere on that occasion as Alpay tried to play it in. Very tightly packed Welsh penalty area. Recovering is Arif. He has changed wings for the moment from right to left. Arif gets it back. The feed by Oguz. And the whistle is sounded. Oguz taking a tumble.
Yes, the challenge coming in there from Mark Hughes. It was a little bit late.
Hughes loves to get stuck in, doesn't he? Offside against Hakan Sukur.
It's interesting with Mark Hughes dropping back into a midfield role, and also Kerry Hughes, the player who's started his Premier League career with Wimbledon, also in that midfield role as well.
You have joined us late here on ESPN. You missed 2 goals, 2 Turkish goals at that. Hakan and Safet after 5 and 8 minutes respectively. The Welsh try to find their feet.
The Wales actually had a chance to take the lead in this game because Dean Saunders was given a real present of a goal, but the goalkeeper in the end able to recover. So it should be at least 2-1. Dean Saunders will be disappointed he missed that opportunity.
Foul that time committed by Tulunay. Abdullah. Fancy footwork, but he couldn't keep hold of the ball. Here's Mark Hughes, the number 10. Pass intended for Saunders. Do well to win it back, the Welsh. Kerry Hughes. Saunders, 4th on the all-time goal-scoring lists for the Welsh national team. Once again, Wales greeted by boos as Kerry Hughes slips into the box. Productive run by Hughes, looking for the corner kick, and he won't get it. He thought it went spinning off Boulet. Not so, said the referee for Poland.
Dean Saunders getting quite a hassle from the crowd here, of course. Spent that season here with Galatasaray. Was popular enough when he was scoring goals for the locals.
Join us here on ESPN as our Italian summer series hits the air. Napoli against Parma, 2 of the most popular teams in the country, live on Thursday. Yellow card has been handed out. The first yellow of the match for Mark Hughes for going in illegally on Alpay.
Yeah, just catching the ankle there of Alpay on the as he went past him. So Mark Hughes into the referee's notebook. That's something that he's quite used to.
Doesn't really shy away from the physical side of the game, the veteran Hughes. Playing in midfield tonight, as opposed to the striking position we tend to associate with Mark Hughes over the years. Alpay's pass, trying to find the number 11, Safet. Danger again, Abdullah. A lot of the trouble can stem from him, and Hakan couldn't get the full force of power behind the header. Southall quickly downfield. Wales trailing 2-0. The Welsh trying to fight their way back into the game, and space here. Saunders! There's too much elevation.
And those are the chances that have got to be taken in these type of games. We see the action at the other end with Hakan Sukur being put under pressure as that ball came across. But that chance for Saunders, set up by Ryan Giggs, a great run from the halfway line, running at defenders. That's where Giggs is so good.
There are those who say, and you see a lot of Ryan Giggs, Mike, in the Premiership, there are those who say that he flatters to the sea from time to time.
Yeah, his form over the last couple of seasons has been a bit disappointing. He really burst on the scene 2 or 3 years ago, but last couple of seasons he's had injury problems. I don't think we've seen the best of Ryan Giggs. Certainly from the bit we've seen of him in this game, which is less than 15 minutes old, certainly looks on song today, and that's a good sign for Wales. Also a good sign for the upcoming season for Manchester United. Ryan
Giggs takes the free kick for the Welsh. Awkward little flake on the edge of the box. Abdullah comes away with the ball. Piece of acrobatics by Safet. Very technically sound player, Safet, as he gets it back to his goalkeeper, Rustu. Ogun's pass. Ilker on the right. Going for distance, but the chase in vain. Arif unable to get there for Turkey. On the road to World Cup '98 is going through Istanbul tonight. Europe Group 7, Derek Ray along with Mike Hill. 2 early goals for the Turks, a dream start. Hakan and Safet. And the Welsh still trying to recover from that early body blow. The Turks are at it again. Ilker on the right channel. Test for the central defenders. This time the shot slithers wide. Arif getting into position, appealing that there was a deflection. And the referee apparently concurs. Arif goes across to take this. Neville Southall, 39 years old now, winning his 92nd cap. 92nd appearance for the Welsh national team. Abdullah on the volley, always ambitious, drifting wide.
Yes, Abdullah always wants to get his name on the score sheet. In fact, he's never scored an international goal for Turkey. But he takes up so many good positions. Great reading of the game then. He took up a position just outside the circle at the top of the penalty area, and as the ball was headed clear, came straight to him. Wales still looking very, very vulnerable at the back, and but starting to get a little bit more possession now in midfield. It's a case that can they make the possession count?
Robbie Savage on the right, working with Steve Jenkins, the fullback. Now Robbie Page comes into the move. Here's Blake inside the box, and Blake has scored. Just like that, the Welsh have hauled themselves back into contention. Nathan Blake, his 2nd goal as a Welsh national team player. The lead is cut in half.
Well, for Nathan Blake, his first goal in World Cup qualifying. The forward who's been scoring goals this season for Bolton Wanderers in the Premier League. He's been brought in. He is the future of Welsh football. And he holds off the challenge here by the defender. It was an awkward bouncing ball. He did well there just to curl it round and get it underneath the goalkeeper. It was a lot harder than it looked, that one. And Nathan Blake has given Wales a lifeline now.
First confirmation, Blake's goal after 18 minutes. What a fine start to the game we're seeing here. Although the defenses might want to get their house in order. Southall scampers off his line. Hakan Sukur, the main offensive threat for Turkey. But Nathan Blake making life interesting here. Referee Marek Kowalczyk gives the free kick to Turkey. I think many people, especially the home fans, felt that this would be something of a walkover for Turkey, given the inconsistency, the erratic form displayed by Wales in this World Cup qualifying campaign. But the Welsh are coming off a very solid 1-0 victory in an exhibition match away to Scotland.
Yes, and Bobby Gould's been given a contract to take Wales through to the next European Championship in the year 2000. So he is using the balance of this World Cup qualifying campaign as a chance to get a team ready to qualify for the European Championships. Wales have never qualified for the finals of that tournament. They have qualified for the finals of the World Cup. That was in 1958. They actually finished up as quarter-finalists in Sweden, eventually losing to Brazil. 1-0. Brazil going on to win the World Cup for the first time. Turkey's only appearance in the World Cup finals was in 1954, where they lost 4-1 and 7-2 to the eventual winners, West Germany. In the group play, did manage to beat South Korea 7-0.
The Welsh trying to make ground down the left. They'll win the throw here. Kerry Hughes to be entrusted with it. Dean Saunders being shadowed by Ogun inside the box. Kerry Hughes looking for support. They just get it away, but Savage! Oh! What a strike! A full-blooded volley by Robbie Savage, and almost unbelievably, Wales is level.
Well, Robbie Savage has stunned this crowd. That's his first international goal. And a great strike there from somewhat 25 yards out. He just volleyed it. That dipped over the goalkeeper. Rustu there had no chance with that. The heading clearance. And he just volleys that one in. Great strike. And Wales are on level terms. And what a goal to do it with. That was a brilliant strike there from Robbie Savage. And his first international goal here. Remember that for a long, long time.
No doubt about that, Mike Hill. That was beautifully struck. Savage getting into position, wasn't picked up. And 2 goals inside a dramatic 2.5-minute spell. Meaning that we now have a 2-2 game. Mustafa Denizli, the coach of Turkey, must be scratching his head, trying to figure out what on earth has happened here. It all began so promisingly for the Turks. 2 goals inside 8 minutes for them, but the Welsh have responded in no uncertain terms.
Well, I think the thing that's happened is Turkey got 2 early goals, and most probably thought this was going to be a bit of a cakewalk. And some of the players just started getting a bit careless. Everybody wanted to get in on the act. A few players just getting drawn out of position, not keeping their concentration. And Turkey have been caught twice, and they've been made to pay.
Tolunay switching the point of attack. Arif, good dribbler, but couldn't outfox Gary's speed that time, coming across to cover. Second bite of the cherry for Arif as he veers purposefully infield. Nice hustle by Wales. Hughes and Giggs going tearing in, but action at the other end. Ilker, the overlapping right back. The deep cross, Hakan Sukur, and Abdullah! And appeals for a trip inside the box. Referee Barak Kowalczyk waves play on to the fury of Abdullah. He was looking for a penalty, Mike.
Yes, and at first look, I think he had a very good case. Here come Wales now. Let's see if we can see it on replay. Ball is played in. Ryan Giggs had lost the ball in midfield, was out of position. And then this ball is nodded in. Abdullah there coming through. He does get clipped, but the ball was running away from him. I think that might have influenced the referee. He didn't have the ball under control. But we have seen penalties given for a lot less.
23 minutes on the clock. 2-2 in this World Cup qualifier for viewers in Latin America only. Join us live on Saturday as ESPN brings you coverage of the Italian Super Cup, featuring the winners of Serie A and the Coppa Italia from last year, respectively, Juventus and Vicenza. Always a grand occasion, the Super Cup on ESPN. A fighting Welsh display here. Now a tussle for the ball as it gets a little ugly. Dean Saunders shoved out of that area by the Turkish defenders.
And Saunders there felt the free kick should have been his, but the referee deciding otherwise. Just getting back to that last chance, though, with Abdullah going through and then brought or losing possession inside the penalty area. Ryan Giggs lost the ball at about the halfway line. Lost the ball, didn't track back.
Saunders with a cross, simple catch in the end for goalkeeper Rustu.
And that left a position, a lot of space on this right-hand touchline, which Turkey were able to exploit. It's one of the problems when you do convert a forward to a more defensive role.
Robbie Page for Wales. Distinctive red-haired figure. Ryan Giggs jockeying for position on the left. Ilker went tearing across, trying to block the path of Ryan Giggs. In the end, the decision goes Turkey's way.
Well, Ryan Giggs there just doing a little bit of pushing. He was being obstructed though at the same time.
Now once again things threaten to boil over. The referee takes on the role of bodyguard, and look at this.
Well, Hakan Suka there run about 30 yards, went crashing into Robbie Savage.
Temper is beginning to flare, and it's the referee's job to take control.
Well, the referee's assistant on this near touchline, I think he's indicating to him number 3. I think it's going to be the number 3 for the Welsh team.
Yeah, that would be Kerry Hughes. He goes in the book. First player to be cautioned in this match to date. And thankfully, that will be all. Just the one yellow card for Kerry Hughes, the 26-year-old midfielder of Wales. You can see there was the push that earned him the yellow card on the number 10, Oguz.
Yeah, this game really sort of bubbling at the moment, just below the surface. One gets the feeling it could explode at any minute. So much pressure on this Turkish side to get a win here, and a good win at that. The final 2 matches are away from home, away to San Marino, and then away to Holland.
Page decides to leave it for Steve Jenkins. Safet, the man, applying the illegal pressure for Turkey. Safet has already scored. Net of the second Turkish goal. Turkey led 2-0 at one stage after 8 minutes. But all credit to Wales. They came storming back with a double themselves after 18 and 21 minutes. Blake and Savage replying to the goals scored by Hakan and Safet.
Neville Southall, who one stage says he was going to retire after that 7-1 hammering from the Dutch in Eindhoven. So has decided to go on.
Has that World Cup qualifying bug. It'll eat away at you every time. We'll see Wales through to the end of this campaign.
Yeah, still first choice for Everton, despite being, what, some 38 years old. Record number of caps for Wales, 92nd cap today.
Southall rivaling Julio Valerio of Uruguay as the oldest regular goalkeeper on the international scene. And neither man, it seems, with any intention of giving up for the moment anyway. You never know with Southall. Does about faces at every turn.
He's made his debut back in 1982 against Northern Ireland, as Nathan Blake has been penalised on that far side for a little push.
Blake it was who got Wales on the board in this game. Europe Group 7 World Cup qualifying. Turkey hoping for a win here and a win over San Marino in its next match. Then they must hope for Belgium to overcome the Netherlands in Holland. That would enable Turkey to have a crack at the Netherlands in the final group match. Again, away from home. With a win there, they would just about be able to qualify. That's a long shot.
It is, but they're full of confidence. I mean, they did beat the Netherlands here in Turkey by 1-0. And must fancy their chances when they travel to Holland. Nathan Blake there caught a blatant elbow there from Halpay.
Free kick it is to Wales. The home crowd getting involved again after a quiet spell following the 2 Welsh shock strikes. Let's see if they give the nod to Savage after his fantastic blast in the 21st minute. Nope, Savage decides to run over the ball. Giggs trying to flight it in. Hughes! Oh, goodness. Mark Hughes with another volley. Testing goalkeeper Rustu. Excellent stuff by Hughes.
Yes, he scored some spectacular goals in his career. And volleys that one, and in the end, Rustu there gets his fingertips to it. That was headed for the top corner. Mark Hughes Although in a midfield role, looking dangerous when he comes forward.
Giggs with the corner kick. A rousing Welsh display during the last 15 minutes or so, after an abysmal start. Saunders tries to get the break of the ball, but the referee had already blown his whistle. Nice to have you with us here on ESPN as the road to World Cup '98 continues. I'm Derek Ray. Mike Hill is alongside. 4 goals already. Somewhat surprising given that we've been playing only for 29 minutes and 53 seconds. The Turks in the white and red uniforms, Wales in green. The Welsh building for the future and trying to spoil the Turkish party. A win tonight for Turkey would keep them very much in the fold as far as qualifying for France is concerned. Ilker is there with the long raking pass. Page with a clearing header. Savage combining well with Mark Hughes in midfield. The referee deciding to let play go. Now dangerous. Dean Saunders just puts it over the top. Again, though, the build-up was encouraging. Saunders and Hughes heavily involved.
Yes, the Welsh midfield now with Savage, Hughes, Kerry Hughes and Mark Hughes just starting to take a little bit of control out there. They were overrun in the first 10 minutes or so, but they're now starting to get into a pattern. And even the defence now is starting to be able to cover some spaces. They're starting to cover each other as well. Of course, it is a new team that's never played with each other as Mark Hughes catches Abdullah. I think he might be fortunate there because he's already got a yellow card.
There it is again.
That was so late, wasn't it? He could have mailed that one in. So he's rather fortunate.
Free kick to Turkey. 2-2 is the score. They try to get Arif free on the right, and his touch deserted him at the vital moment. Arif, a 25-year-old Galatasaray winger, nominally partnering Hakan Sukur up front tonight. As we mentioned, Oktay wasn't called up for this game. Oktay, the top scorer for Turkey in this World Cup qualifying campaign. Just over 13 minutes left to go in the first half. Neville Southall deciding to boot it down the left. And he might regret that now. Just hooking it out of play. Boulet, the central defender. Alpay is there. Abdullah now comes into the move. Page gets stuck in, so does Jenkins. Alpay tries to open a hole in the Welsh defense. Page under pressure. The man applying it was the number 10 Oguz, and he acknowledges that it was pressure of an illegal nature.
Yeah, a bit of a push there on Page, but there just seemed to be that minutes or moments indecision there between Page and Neville Southall.
Southall's kick. Looking for Blake. Over the head of Boulet. Now Giggs. Giggs and Blake together. And Saunders has scored again for Wales. An astonishing game here in Istanbul. Dean Saunders gives Wales a remarkable lead. They trailed 2-0, but now Wales holds a 3-2 advantage.
And what a comeback. And the ball slid through, and Dean Saunders, who's had a couple of opportunities in this game, spurned them both, but this time able to get there before the goalkeeper, just slides it past him. Beautiful ball initially, though, from Ryan Giggs. Perfectly weighted pass. Saunders did the rest. That's his 5th goal in World Cup qualifying, his 21st international goal for Wales.
Being watched by family members tonight, Saunders comes up with the goods. And what a shock this must be to the Turkish fans and players for that matter. A 2-0 up with only 8 minutes on the clock against one of the weakest teams in the group. They were riding high.
Yes, and Wales, of course, are only playing for pride, but anybody that knows the Welsh, that's perhaps their biggest challenge when they're playing just for pride. Bobby Gould really urging his team on. He must be delighted the way they fought back to score 3 goals.
This will really test Turkey's mettle now. What are they made of in adversity with their World Cup future hanging in the balance? They concede a free kick.
It's a bit of a payback there. It's Mark Hughes who's been caught. That was a very late challenge.
The offender was the number 4, Tolunay. Dispatching Hughes. Wales leading 3-2 here.
Well, there's Mark Hughes, and just releasing the ball, and just after he'd released it there, caught by Tolunay. And the Turkish players being pushed away there by the referee. I think they're saying there's time wasting going on. He's just informing them that he will add on extra time.
Mustafa Denizli, very nervous, almost furtive looking coach a lot of the time in the technical area. Never seems particularly happy with life. And now the fans letting it be known that they're far from happy with the fact that the mobile stretcher was brought on, but Hughes decided to keep going.
You can understand the coach not being happy. You get 2 goals up inside of 8 minutes. You're on home. This is a World Cup qualifier you've got to win, and you've conceded 3 goals and now find yourself behind.
Inside the final 10-minute spell in first half play. Savage misses out on the challenge. The defense a little stretched, but Page is back there, thwarting Ilker. Quick throw by Ilker. Couldn't quite get the accurate feed from Abdullah. Ilker playing on the right side of defense. This is 8th cap, Ryan Giggs, in this very strange, Mike, left-sided role. It's not quite a defensive position and not quite midfield either.
No, and he seems a little bit like a fish out of water at times. Certainly he looks like the Ryan Giggs of old when he goes forward.
Abdullah with a corner kick. They only just get it away as far as Abdullah again. They're all lining up in the middle. Let's see if the Turks can take command. Hakan! 3-3. Hakan Şükür, his second goal tonight. And this astonishing turn of events continues. Hakan in the 37th minute.
Well, Wales there had a couple of opportunities to get the ball clear, initially from the corner. It's knocked back to Abdullah, who he puts it across. Wales there leaving players unmarked. In the end, it falls for Hakan Şükür, and he just slides that in despite there's a desperate attempt to keep it out by Stephen Jenkins.
Little touch by Kerry Hughes on the line there. But Hakan will surely get the credit.
Yes, certainly he will do. His second goal of the game, and it's all tied up at 3 apiece.
You've seen a World Cup qualifier quite like this during this campaign?
Certainly 6 goals, and we're not even up to half-time yet.
The Welsh desperately trying to get the ball out of the danger zone. Back with Turkey again. Hakan, his second post-goal ritual of the evening. We haven't even reached halftime.
Remember, both sides have spooned a few very good chances as well.
The referee might be tempted to produce a yellow card here. Bülent was the offending player that time as the Welsh tried to build up for midfield.
Yeah, Bülent, very uncompromising defender, plays for Galatasaray. Picks up a yellow card, and of course these could start being costly as these group matches now really coming down to the wire.
2 matches left for Turkey after this. Wales continues to battle. They'll get a corner kick out of that. Enterprising run by Kerry Hughes. Just slammed it off Ogun.
Yeah, Kerry Hughes now in the Premier League with Wimbledon, signed during the off-season from Luton Town. And he made his international debut against Holland back in 1992. So he hasn't had too many call-ups.
Giggs on the corner. Oh, a mistake by goalkeeper Rustu. It wasn't costly. Oh, he was extremely fortunate on that occasion. Let the ball slip through his hands.
Yes, and I think the Welsh forwards had given up then, thinking the goalkeeper was going to take that quite comfortably. Some slow reactions. But it's been a game at the moment that's had so many mistakes that by defenders and goalkeepers, and Rooster has got away down with a couple of real clangers. That one in the first 5 minutes as well.
Corner kick has been awarded to Turkey. It's taken by Abdullah. Couldn't pick out Hakan inside the box. It spins all the way out. Turkey will get the throw. Savet decides to leave it for Ogun. Ogun Temiz Kanoglu, to give him his full name, prefers to be referred to simply as Ogun. Just over 5 minutes left to go in the first half. Good distance by Ogun. You get nervous every time you look at the Welsh defense, don't you? Now they try to turn defense into attack. Kerry Hughes. Try to spill it out to the other side. Ryan Giggs couldn't quite play the accurate ball. Saunders. Loose pass that time. And to sweep up was Andy Melville, the number 5. Page and Melville together. Robbie Page out-hustled in midfield by Ogun. Here's another Turkish wave. Abdullah. And Abdullah takes a tumble. The whistle had been sounded before that. Abdullah that time getting involved with the number 5, Andy Melville.
He seemed to clash there with Melville's shoulder, went down, and referee saw exactly what happened. I don't think he was going to have any of this. There didn't seem to be too much problem. Melville there just bracing himself as he could see Abdullah coming in on him.
The road to World Cup '98 here on ESPN continues with live action on Sunday. From Group 6, Slovakia against the Czech Republic. Two countries formerly won. They'll go at it on Sunday. Blake cutting it back. A test for the Turkish defense. Wales not finished. Mistake by Speed, though, and he acknowledges it. Trying to change wings. Gary Speed, the number 6, couldn't find any supporting player out on the right flank. Long ball by Page. Alpai feeds it back to Rustu. And Rustu has been a little rusty in goal. That one fumble of note just a couple of minutes ago. Just hand it to Wales. They're continuing to go at it as they look for a free kick. They will get the free kick. Boulet with the illegal challenge on Giggs. The Turkish players trying to claim that it should not have been. Not quite sure what all that's about. Free kick in a dangerous position, Mike.
Yes, and Boulet, who the yellow card just a couple of minutes ago, has got to be careful. So there was no way he was going to stop Ryan Giggs legally. Ryan Giggs looking very much on fire at the moment. Savage and Giggs, the two players over the ball. Savage goes for finesse, comes back to Ryan Giggs for Wales. Giggs looking to tee it up, supported on the left by Kerry Hughes. The whistle is blown to the bemusement, really, of the Welsh players as Andy Melville went out, committed the foul. Yes, the referee, in fact, has penalised him for feet high. I think his feet must have been about a foot off the ground, and that's all.
Coming up at the half, don't miss ESPN's halftime report presented by Motorola Pagers and by MasterCards. We'll check out the other scores from around World Cup qualifying today and review the first half highlights. Plenty of highlights in this one. No complaints there.
No, we've got 6 goals. It could be so many more. And in fact, the finishing have been a bit better. But it's been an entertaining game. And Wales, after a bit of a dodgy start, certainly fitting into the type of system that Bobby Gould wanted. There's been a lot of hard work, a lot of hard running. Gradually, the midfielders have started to take control. And Nathan Blake and Dean Saunders up front, like a very lively couple.
Rustu has custody of the ball for Turkey. Turkey made great strides under Fatih Terim, the coach, during that magnificent run to the European Championships, 1996. Fatih decided to depart the scene and go back to club football. And Mustafa Denizli not having as much success in this World Cup qualifying group, albeit the team's still in the running. And now again the referee is forced to break up a couple of players. Oguz got involved. Wales looking for a free kick as Mark Hughes took a tumble. He thought he was decked. Savage in a reverse gear. All the way to Southall. A booming kick as we approach injury time in the first half. The offside flag raised meanwhile. Dean Saunders scoring one of the 3 Welsh goals. Normally, when you score 3 goals away from home against any team in a World Cup qualifying match, you would think that would be good for a win, right?
You would think so. Here it is. It's tied up at 3 apiece.
14 seconds into injury time in the first half. The Turks looking for goal number 4 as Southall reads it well, using all his experience. Trying to throw it out quickly, and the referee decides. That's the other net, not the net you're looking at right now. Paul Jones replaces Neville Southall. Did not appear, Mike Hill, that he picked up an injury.
Bit of a surprise, this. You just wonder if it's the end of an era for Neville Southall as far as his international career is concerned.
Real chance to see how Jones can handle the pressure. This is a pressure cooker occasion. And an early test with a 30-year-old goalkeeper. The shot coming in from Safet, who has already scored tonight.
Yes, and that catch there will do the goalkeeper's confidence a lot of good. It's a good firm, got a good feel of the ball. And that will certainly make him feel a lot better, and we'll have got rid of a few of the butterflies.
If you have recently joined us here on ESPN, this is World Cup qualifying action. The roads to France '98. Has been a long and meandering one. The Turks still in the frame. Just by the skin of their teeth, though. They need a win to remain in with a chance of qualifying. Remember, only the group winners are certain of berths in the World Cup finals, as well as the best-placed second team from all the sections based on the team's record against the top 4 in its group. You following this?
It's complicated, isn't it? There was 49 teams from Europe that entered the World Cup. I can't understand why they didn't come up with 7 groups of 7 and the top 2 going through. That might have been too simple.
I think you're right. It would have been very logical. Instead, we will have a situation whereby the second-place teams, with the exception of the team in second with the best record, will play off against each other on a home and away basis. And Turkey, I think, would settle for that at this point, although it would have to be said it is a long shot. 3-3 the score. Turkey held a 2-0 lead, then the Welsh scored 3 times, only for Turkey to come back. The defense a little harried. Gary Speed gets it away. Wales looking for the free kick, which they will get. Now the referee moves in, in fact is going to penalize Kerry Hughes by the look of things. With a foul on Oguz.
I think he might have also pinged him there for some handball.
So a real examination awaits the Welsh. A tightly packed wall. Good look at the view. Goalkeeper Paul Jones. It'll be Abdullah, and Jones with a very solid save.
Well, good handling there from the Welsh goalkeeper. His second shot he's had to deal with in the 2 minutes that he's been on. That one he would have seen late, but he was well positioned. Abdullah hit it hard, but a good safe catch there by the goalkeeper.
Now they try to bludgeon their way through the Welsh defense again. Robbie Page sticking like glue to Safet. Here's the free kick.
Yes, and Abdullah there getting it round the wall, and Jones, the goalkeeper, there well positioned. Took that one safely.
Blake's little flick. Here's Dean Saunders for Wales. Was expecting the overlapping run to be made by Robbie Savage. Tidied up by Abdullah. Ogun trying to sweep it down the left. Safet losing out to Mark Hughes. Two players, of course, by the name of Hughes on the Welsh team, Mark and Kerry. Tolunai being hassled by Robbie Savage. Free kick is given. Referee Marek Kowalczyk of Poland has been very firm in his handling of this match. Driven downfield by Ogun. Jones says that's mine. 4 minutes on the clock in the second half. Speed, that long, accurate ball as it turns out. Chased by Rustu, a little exposed. The defense forced to help out. Now Savage goes tearing in. Well, Savage knew that the chance was there for Wales.
Yes, and Rustu again, his clearances have played Turkey into trouble a couple of times. That was the cause then, that it was the defender who had to take it off the line.
Look at that, another shot. Saunders swiveling around and trying to ask questions of Rustu, and Wales beginning the second half on a very positive note indeed.
I think Bobby Gould would have said to him at half-time, hey, you know, we gave away a couple of silly goals early. We fought back. We were leading at one stage. We've missed chances. You know, this game can be won. I mean, Turkey have only ever beaten Wales once, and that's back in 1979. They won here in Turkey by 1-0. So Wales have got a good record against Turkey.
The Turks, of course, making great strides in recent seasons. They used to be thought of, at any rate, as one of the easier assignments in Europe. A lot has changed.
Yes, the youth team, in fact, won the European Youth Under-19 Championships in 1992.
Tackled by Kerry Hughes on Tolunai. Let's see what the referee decides to do. Watch it again, Mike.
Yeah, well, Kerry Hughes has been booked in the first half, and might count himself rather fortunate that he wasn't seeing a red card that time. Certainly, it was a bookable offence. Seemed to lose the player that time and just swung to bring him down. But the referee using a bit of intelligence and a bit of common sense. It seems to be a short commodity these days, but Kerry Hughes plays his football now at Wimbledon. Be rather thankful that he's got an understanding referee. Real tussle here between the two, but then he just hooks his legs from him. And it should have been a card. Both sides still remain with 11 players on the field.
Mustafa Denizli, the 50-year-old coach of Turkey, has been a worried man during the course of this match. But his team has a free kick here. Ogun with the chip. Looking for Hakan inside the box. Speed. Looking up on the far side with Kerry Hughes. Now Blake with a bit of space in which to work. Dean Saunders, 33-year-old Nottingham Forest player, supported on the outside by Savage. Two players stamping in for Turkey, Abdullah and Ogun. Abdullah has been very inventive tonight. Ogun much more conservative in his approach.
Yes, Abdullah has been impressive every time we've seen him in these World Cup qualifiers. The big surprise is that some of the Western European clubs have not sought his signature.
Free kick to Wales following the illegal challenge on Savage. They try to drive it in and pose problems. And the ball is in the nets. The Welsh continue to wreak havoc here in Istanbul. Melville was right on the spot. The big centre back. And the small band of Welsh supporters, in direct contrast with the Turks, filled with joy.
Well, Andy Melville, only his third goal in World Cup qualifying. So dangerous when he comes forward like that. Initially, the run coming in there from both Dean Saunders and from Mark Hughes, that might have just distracted the goalkeeper and defenders. But Andy Melville there at the far post, the Sunderland central defender, slots that one home, and Wales are now in the lead.
A deathly hush here at the stadium. A shocking state of affairs if you're a Turkish fan. Your team led 2-0 at one point, in fact after 8 minutes, but Rustu and the defense conceding 4 goals at home. And no disrespect is intended to Wales when I say this, but normally a team of high caliber would not expect to give up 4 goals against the Welsh at home.
Well, Wales have always threatened to do well in these competitions. And you go back through history, Wales can usually come up with a pretty good side. The trouble is that they've got no depth. They put their best 11 on the field. They're most probably a match for pretty much any team around the world. And unfortunately, once you get past that first 11 or 12 players, the quality drops off alarmingly. They haven't got the depth that the West Germanys or the Italys or the Brazils have got. But certainly tonight we're seeing, if this is the start of a new era for Bobby Gould as he looks towards the next European Championship, this really is some good signs out there. It's a good young squad. They've got some talent. And even the old boys out there, the Mark Hughes and the Dean Saunders, seem to be given a new lease of life tonight.
Of course, Wales suffered through many hard luck stories when talking about World Cup qualifying. Think back to the 1978 campaign. Robbed, at least Welsh fans would say, by Scotland. Controversial Joe Jordan handball for the Scots was given, and with that died the Welsh challenge. Similar state of affairs in 1986. Again, Scotland getting there ahead of them. They didn't do too badly in the lead up to the 1994 World Cup either. For a while, their name appeared to be destined to go to the USA. Trying to drive the ball back in. Safet that time couldn't keep it in play, however. Goal kick is given.
Good move that from Turkey. This is one of the things they do so well. They can attack down one flank, they play it across quickly, they wrong foot the defence, and there's always somebody reading the move at the far post. That time it was Safet who came in, but his cross just curling over the byline.
11 minutes played in the second half. An eerie silence here in Istanbul. Could hear a pin drop just at the moment. The Turks try to change all that. Ilker with a threatening pass. Sukur. Hakan Sukur trying to make his way into that forward position, but the flag had already been raised. Offside. Safet was to the left of Hakan. A huge match this for Turkey. Join us here on ESPN for English action. The Premiership will come your way on Monday live. Blackburn against Sheffield Wednesday. Check your local listings. Mike Hill and Tommy Smith will be in the chair. 12 minutes played in the second half. Wales leads 4-3. Another stunning blow to Turkey's World Cup qualifying hopes. Administered by the Welsh in the 53rd minute. Andy Melville was the man who applied the finishing touch for the men in green tonight. And perhaps not surprisingly, Mike, the Turks, who would be eliminated with a draw or a loss, seem poised to go to the bench. Number 15, Hami, may very well figure prominently.
Yeah, an experienced international. This will be his 42nd international appearance. Certainly brings some stability and experience to this Turkish side at the moment. They just seem to be lacking a leader out there. Abdullah seems to be all over the place, trying to inspire his teammates.
There he is, Abdullah, closed down by Savage, but closed down not in the desired fashion.
Referee saying there that feet were high. I wonder if Robbie Savage just shakes his head. It seems to be that both players had their feet up that time.
So this will be an indirect free kick to Turkey, and that ignites the crowd. And it could well be that the introduction of Hami will get them excited as well. He replaces Safet. Hami, the 29-year-old Trabzonspor striker. This is 42nd appearance for the Turkish national team. The free kick, I think, taken too quickly for their own good in the end. look at Hami. It's the road to World Cup 98 here on ESPN. I'm Derek Ray. Mike Hill is alongside. Our action comes to you from the Ali Sami Yen Stadium in the Turkish capital. Hakan Safet getting Turkey off to the perfect start, but then the Welsh fight back. 4-3 is the score now. Andy Melville with a go-ahead goal in the 53rd minute. Wales in green. Slip shot defending again by Turkey as Blake tries to cut it across the face of the goal. He had Saunders as his target.
Dean Saunders there making a good run down the centre-forward channel, and Nathan Blake, very unselfish, trying to pick out the Notts Forest striker. Saunders is still at the moment at Notts Forest. The rumour has it he's on his way to Goodison Park to join Gary Speed at Everton.
Savage hasn't been afraid to get involved tonight.
He seems to have grown in confidence as this game has continued. Certainly looks a great find.
Here's Abdullah trying to chip it in. No free kick given. Play continues. Ogun running into trouble. He's out of position now, the central defender. Let's see if Saunders can capitalize. The answer is no. Alpay leads the charge for a Turkish team that badly needs not one goal but two at this juncture. It's win or bust. Here's Hakan in a good position. Hakan Sukur, the equalizer. Emphatically driven home by Oguz. 8 goals tonight, 4 now for Turkey. What a game.
What a game. And what a great goal this was. It was a set-up by Hakan Sukur. Now, he's a goal scorer normally. You would think a goal scorer with his pedigree would have taken the chance here. But realising it's so important for Turkey, unselfishly there, lays it back. And Oguz coming in, slots it home. The Welsh defence really pulled to pieces. He just drills that one in despite the efforts there of Melville on the goal line. But it was the setup there from Hakan Sukur, who has tied this game up now at 4-4.
Yet another remarkable twist to the tale here in Istanbul. Seldom will you see the like of this in a World Cup qualifying match. The Turks now with all guns blazing. But that shot was a weak effort in the end by Hami, the substitute. Goalkeeper Paul Jones in position for Wales. He replaced Neville Southall at the start of the second half. The Turkish bench now filled with confidence. As the cross comes in, another test for Jones. Not sure this was the master plan tonight, though, to concede 4 goals to Wales and then answer them almost at every turn. That's been the pattern. Remember, it was 2-2. And the Welsh scored, then Turkey came back, Wales scored again, and once again the Turks provided the perfect riposte.
Well, Turkey needed to win this game, but they also needed to score a few goals and improve their goal difference. Because their goal difference is so much more inferior than that of Belgium or the Netherlands, should they even catch up with them on the points.
Clumsy challenge by Abdullah on Nathan Blake. And I think the referee has had enough. Abdullah gets the yellow card. Referee forcing him to look at his direction and take his punishment like a man. Abdullah with a caution.
Well, that's a silly yellow card, and I'm sure his coach is going to be absolutely furious. He ignores the referee, commits the foul, and he's going to get penalised for that. But then he picks up the ball, walks away with it, despite the protest there of the referee trying to get him to give the ball back, and in the end, he gets a yellow card.
Minutes have elapsed in the second half. You saw Ogun depart the scene, the number 8. So another move to the bench by Turkey of this critical World Cup qualifier. Number 17, Fatih, making his debut for the Turkish national team, is in. So Mustafa Denizli, Mike, not afraid to go to the bench.
No, and Fatih, who plays for Galatasaray, international debut, as you say, today. And he comes in at really a critical stage now, this game. It's a game that Turkey have got to get 3 points from.
High and hopeful by the other substitute, Hami. Wearing the number 15 shirt, the Trabzonspor player. 19 minutes played in the second half. Turkey 4, Wales 4. And I did not misspeak. Takes a bit of getting used to, doesn't it? 4-4. Certainly at this level where defenses are normally so tight, so on top of the situation. But they've been porous and leaky tonight. Oh, a great chance here for the Turks, and the substitute Fatih with the goal at his mercy. Couldn't put it away. Goodness.
He could have scored there with his first touch and his first international. A bit of a rush of blood to the head that time, and he scoops this one over the crossbar. Really got his foot right underneath it. And led off there for Wales, not for the first time tonight. But that could have been a sensational international debut.
He'd only been on the field for 60 seconds. But he lofted it over the top. Well, let's see if the Welsh stay with the routine that has been the way of things since the start, going forward a lot, perhaps leaving themselves exposed at the back. And another drive comes sizzling in. Hami was the man in question. The two substitutes, Hami and Fatih, seeing a lot of action since coming off the bench.
Yes, and this great cushion header there from Hakan Suka, setting up the opportunity. I mean, Hakan Suka, an out-and-out striker, a brilliant striker, a great goal poacher. But we've seen already in this second half how good he is at setting up opportunities for teammates.
The tension mounts in Istanbul. The Turks need to win. It's all academic for the Welsh. They're playing purely for pride. But whoever said the Welsh weren't a proud nation? Robbie Page going in that time and committing the foul, so Abdullah will get a chance to test out that educated left boot of his again. The Polish referee moving Abdullah closer to the touchline. Huge crowd on hand here in Istanbul, praying for a victory. They continue to besiege the Welsh penalty area. The corner kick is given. Alpay decides to leave it as he makes his way into the box.
And the green shirts back now for Wales. Let's see how they can defend this corner. They had trouble in the first half.
Arif couldn't get the desired accuracy. Hughes with a clearing header, only as far as Hami. Hakan Sukur. And Hakan will settle for the corner kick. Supported by Alpay, who had made his way to the byline. Tolunay up as well. The corner kick will be taken by Arif for Turkey. A 4-4 game. All the big players are up. Tolunay. A poor header, as it turned out. Lane Saunders on the chase for Wales. The only player to score twice tonight, Hakan Sukur. The first and third Turkish goals on the evening. Bobby Gould shouting out the instructions. We talked about the NFL preseason, but what about the NFL season itself? Join us for the opener. Washington against Carolina, live August 31st. Hakan trying to dribble his way through. And oh, the finishing. Woeful again. Oguz, the captain. They certainly will have to do better than that when chances come their way. Now then, Mike, the bench for Wales. A couple of switches. We saw the goalkeeper change earlier. I think Robert Edwards and Lee Jones, two inexperienced players, will have a chance to really express themselves in this cauldron.
Well, for Robert Edwards, the number 13 who plays at Bristol City, this is his international debut. And also coming on is Lee Jones, who spent some time at Liverpool, now transferred to Tranmere Rovers to get some regular first-choice football. So 2 changes for Bobby Gould.
Gary Hughes departs.
Yes, I think Dean Saunders is the other player that might have gone off there.
That is confirmed. Dean Saunders and Kerry Hughes making way for Robert Edwards and Lee Jones. 4-4 the score. The Turks trying to knock the door down, and Jones in a bit of trouble. Steve Jenkins came to his rescue. Hakan Sukur was waiting to pounce on any further mistake.
Well, that time it was Paul Jones, the goalkeeper, there at full stretch, just getting his fingertips to that, rescuing the situation for Wales.
The deep corner kick. They try the volley, always asking a lot of a player to hit it accurately and with power from that sort of position. And on that occasion, Arif significantly off the mark for Turkey.
Well, we said at the beginning of the game that this is a game that Bobby Gould is looking to the future for Wales.
A yellow card here, Mike, for time wasting. Paul Jones just trying to take the sting out of the situation, but the referee caught up with him. Jones does the needful. Shows Marek Kowalczyk his number, and a caution for the backup goalkeeper.
Well, the referee was worried about wasting time. He's now wasted about another 40 seconds as he's taken his name and written it into the book. Just getting back to what I was saying, though, Bobby Gould looking to the future for Wales. Well, he's made these 2 substitutions. Robert Edwards is just 24. His is his international debut. And Lee Jones, who has come on, is also 24. This is only his 2nd appearance for the national side. His first was as a substitute in Kilmarnock in that victory over Scotland back in May. So certainly we're looking now at the future of Welsh football with these 2 players coming on.
Tripped by Abdullah of Turkey on Steve Jenkins. Time beginning to be of pressing concern to the Turks inside the final 20-minute spell. It's a case of win this match or kiss goodbye. Any thoughts you might have if you're a Turkish fan of being in France next year? Enterprising play by Tulunay on the left. Abdullah, as ever, available. Looking for Hakan. Page able to get it away, not decisively. Arif. Ilker. Oguz. This could be awkward for the Welsh defenders, but they handled the situation well. Didn't overplay the ball side. A couple of defenders back, and very calmly able to extricate themselves from that predicament. Savage. What a goal Savage scored earlier on the volley. Tidy play by the substitute, Fatih. Savage gets it back. They try to switch play out to the left flank. Giggs has been very quiet by his own high standards. "18 minutes left to go. 72 played in total, as you can see. They're growing ever more impatient.
Yes, and one thing Turkey is starting to do now, and that's hit the ball in early, high balls into the penalty area. Well, for this Welsh defence, who most often play their football in the Premier League, that's bread and butter.
A chance on just for a moment. Broken up. Alpai, long searching ball. Page. Oh, a misplay by Page at the back. And they're appealing that there was an infringement. Now, what will the referee do? He's going to give the free kick, it appears, just inches from the 18-yard line.
Well, I'd like to have a look at that again. Surely if the referee's saying it was a deliberate foul, it's got to be a red card, but I'm not sure it was outside the penalty area.
Watch it again.
Oh, well.
This sets up another possibility for Abdullah. Beside him is Hamid. Inches from the penalty area. All even at 4. Hamid! Oh! Well, that's almost inexcusable at international level.
And certainly in the situation now that Turkey find themselves tied 4-4, they've got to win it. And really, with shots like that, Paul Jones will be quite happy if they carry on doing that for the remaining 17 minutes. He had options in the penalty area. Perhaps going for the spectacular.
Looked like handball by Gary Speed. Yes, free kick. Gary Speed, the sweeper in this 5-man defensive system, favored by the Welsh coach Bobby Gould. Abdullah in position for Turkey. The Welsh with everyone behind the ball now. Abdullah trying to stroke it in. And look for Hakan, who is being very tightly marked now by the Welsh defenders. The overlapping run by Ilker. Then he was able to cut his way across into the box, but Mustafa Denizli's team remains on level terms with the Fighting Welsh. They have never stopped battling in this game. Melville scored the 4th Welsh goal. Jenkins. Nice touch as they try to move it through midfield. Mark Hughes being attended to by Tolunai. Giggs trying to work his magic, but Wales has been penalized. That time the number 17, Fatih, getting the decision. Ryan Giggs really hasn't been in the mood tonight, Mike.
No, we saw a couple of flashes in the first half. That time I'm not quite sure how he got the free kick given against him. That's where he's so good, when he's actually running at defenders. He seems now to have forsaken most of his defensive duties and is operating more up front, looks a lot more comfortable. But for the rest of Bobby Gould's system tonight, after a shaky start, the players really do seem to have settled into it, and the midfield has looked a lot stronger. Certainly Savage has been a revelation.
Offside. Once again, Ilker making that advanced run. Fenerbahce fullback trying to get forward as often as allowed. Jones drives it downfield. A lot of bites to the play of both teams now. Not a big surprise. Referee Marek Kowalczyk having to keep a keen eye on the proceedings.
With Ilker getting down that right-hand side so often now, I'd be very tempted to send Ryan Giggs over there if he's not going to defend, just to put him out there as a left winger and let the fullback stay at home to mark him. Take one avenue of attack out of the game for Turkey.
It has been a fairly productive avenue at that. Meanwhile, the Welsh, in the person of Robbie Page, give up another free kick. This one well off to the left. Tougher angle for them to deal with. Arif and Abdullah are at the controls as Jones gets the defense lined up for Wales. 4-4 is the score in this World Cup qualifier. Arif tries to chip it in, and a dramatic header. Hakan Şükür gives Turkey the lead. Oh yes. The Hakan hat-trick at a crucial time. The hopes of the nation rested on his shoulders, and he delivered the goods.
And didn't he deliver them as well? It was a good cross, but he came running in at the near post. He completely lost his markers, and this is a well-positioned and a forceful header just inside the upright. And Paul Jones is beaten purely by the power. Timed the run, though, to perfection, was well picked out, and that completes his hat-trick. What a prolific goal scorer he has been, not only in the Turkish domestic league, but also at international level. 20 international goals now for Hakan Şükür, and a hat-trick tonight.
And certainly one of his most important at international level, that flashing header following the free kick taken by Arif from the left side. They didn't pick up Hakan. They've been staying with him as much as possible during the last few minutes, but now it's a question of Wales trying to battle back. 5-4 the score in Turkey's favor. Here's the goal that made it 5-4.
And he ran a long way, Hakan Şükür, and nobody tracked him. Able to run across there, the face of the Welsh defence, and everybody seemed to leave their mark in job to somebody else. And you give this man half a chance, and he buries it. Hero of Turkey had a disappointing Euro 96. Yes. And he's back to form now.
A man who failed to adapt to living conditions in Italy when he was with Torino a couple of years ago. But igniting the crowd here, and he's not finished yet. Oh, Hakan! That would surely have clinched it for Turkey. Would have been his 4th goal on the night.
Well, he knows how close he was to that 4th goal. Just seemed to scruff his shot slightly as the ball came across to him. See here, didn't hit it cleanly. Seemed to just bounce and come off the ankle, actually, as he tried to guide that one in. But that agonizingly close to his 4th goal.
The hands were over the eyes. He knew it. He knew that that would normally be meat and drink. But the Welsh still alive, and no one can count them out. Mark Hughes has hustled all night long in that midfield role.
Yeah, great competitor, Mark Hughes. Nicknamed Sparky.
Provided plenty of spark this evening. Almost inside the final 10-minute spell as Edwards makes the chase out to the left for Wales. Hakan back in a defensive position, but Edwards gets the cross in. Rustu is there to make the catch. Not a happy night overall for Rustu, but the fans will settle for a shutout the rest of the way. It's the road to World Cup 98 here on ESPN. Europe Group 7. Incredible scenes here in Istanbul tonight. Turkey leads it 5-4. They were trailing 3-2, 4-3. But they've been able to come back. The men in white, Turkey against the green-clad Welsh. But who's to say that Wales won't come back again? Lee Jones. Sprightly player on the right, straight down the throat of Rustu and goal.
You needed a better cross that time from Lee Jones. Had a little bit more time, and he also had Nathan Blake waiting inside that 6-yard box. But rushed his cross, in fact, and went much too close to the goalkeeper.
The Group 7 table sees the Netherlands and Belgium locked together at the top on the 15-point mark from 6 games. At the start of play, the Turks had 7 points from 5. 3 games left for Turkey. So with a win here, they would, albeit only just, still be in the reckoning. But it would take results to go their way elsewhere, namely Belgium to beat Holland. For that to hold up as Hakan is away again. Hakan! Hakan, the hero. Of that, there is no doubt. Jones, a beaten goalkeeper. Surely now the points are in the bag for a Turkish team that needs them badly.
Well, Hakan Suka's 4th goal of this match and Turkey's 6th. He is such a popular character here. The national fans and also the fans, of course, of Galatasaray, where he scores lots and lots of goals. But to score 4 for the national team, he was being hassled here. The ball just fell nicely for him in the end. And that is the finish of a striker very much at the top of his game. Got away there from the challenge of Andy Melville. And that was very cool finishing, despite Paul Jones, the goalkeeper, coming off his line, trying to narrow the angle. But Hakan Suka, goal number 4, Turkey's 6th now of the evening.
It will take a lot from Wales now to alter the course of events to the tune of a draw or a Welsh win. 10 goals on the night. An incredible match by any stretch of the imagination as Blake tries to move in, but the foul had already been committed. I don't think I've seen a game with defenses as porous as this in a long time.
We've also seen some excellent finishing tonight from both sides. I mean, you think back to Robbie Savage's goal, that was a goal of excellent. I mean, the goals that this man has scored as well, I mean, they've all been very well taken goals. He's been at the right spot at the right time. His finishing has been very, very clinical. We saw it then, we saw it with the header in the 77th minute as well. So we've got 10 goals. We've got some quality goals, some quality play leading up to them.
Hakan Şükür scored 38 goals last season to lead all the top European leagues. The fans cheer, and as they do, the Turks make a switch. Abdullah, one of the most pivotal players this evening, is replaced by Ergun, the number 13.
Well, Ergun, another player from Galatasaray. Abdullah goes off, and he missed that last game for Turkey. Their 3-1 loss here to Belgium. He was surely missed.
Flashing drive, just goes wide. Hami that time, getting into position. Couldn't direct it accurately. Well, Turkey's destiny in this group depends on the Netherlands and Belgium, and their meeting will be carried live here on ESPN September 6th. Check your local listings. If you're pulling for Turkey, then you must also pull by definition for Belgium in that match. That promises to be something special.
Well, a great rivalry between those two nations from the Low Countries. They will be co-hosts in the next European Championships. There'll be no love lost, though, in this World Cup qualifier.
Away by Page following the Alpine cross. Edwards, who came off the bench early in the second half for Wales. Every Welsh touch being greeted by a Turkish boo just at the moment. Here's Savage in midfield. As they try to slide it down the right wing. Blake holding up the ball. Jenkins made a productive run down the right. His progress checked all the way by the number 17, Fatih. Rustu in goal gets everyone focused for these last vital few minutes. They try to drive it across, and oh, another awkward save for Rustu to make. Don't write the Welsh obituary yet.
No, that was a crucial save there from Rustu. That was a forceful header. He did well just to keep that one out.
Hami, tantalizing ball, which is gathered by goalkeeper Jones. Quickly restarting play. Less than 4 minutes to go. Now, the referee only added about 25 seconds of injury time in the first half. Let's see what his policy will be here in the second. Arif on the left. Began playing on the right side, and naturally enough, there are holes now in the Welsh defence for all to see. They're concerned with fueling the attack, and that can have ramifications. Wales gives up a free kick. The chop on Alpay. Mustafa Denizli continues to look nervous down in the technical area, and who can blame him, given the number of goals that have gone in at both ends this evening, Mike?
Yeah, we've got 3 minutes left. I mean, the Welsh are quite capable of scoring 3 goals in those 3 minutes, and both sides, as you say, have been a little bit porous at the back, but both sides have gone out there with the intention of scoring goals, and that's nice to see. Turkey didn't sort of try to put the shutters up when they took the lead early, and Wales, certainly when they got the lead, decided to carry on attacking. Both sides playing with the old adage, the best form of defence is attack.
Regardless of how it ends up, this is a match not to be forgotten anytime soon. They try to get it in once again, the Welsh. Turkey lets it slide all the way through for the goal kick. Group 7 in Europe. Many people thought it would be dominated by Netherlands and Belgium from the very start, and to a certain extent that has happened. But the Turks not lying down here. They're still in the race. Albeit results will have to fall in their favor if qualification is to be achieved. That easily patrolling the area just in front of the bench. Inside the final 2-minute spell. Savage flights on the free kick for Wales. Appeared to be a push inside the box. Yes, Melville was up. Being countered by Alpay, the two big men together. So many talking points here in Istanbul tonight. The road to World Cup 98 going through here. And stick around when it's all over for our post-match wrap. Plenty of items to discuss.
Yes, well, Turkey's World Cup dream is still alive, looking to qualify for the World Cup finals for the first time since 1954. As for Wales, well, they had no chance coming into this game of qualifying, but certainly now, from what we've seen here, the future could look a lot brighter for this Welsh side. Bobby Gould has unearthed some good young players. He's also got players who really want to play for Wales, want to work hard for them. And certainly he's got the nucleus of a team that could work do very well in the upcoming European Championship qualifiers that will start in 1998.
Just over 30 seconds left. Turkey 6, Wales 4. And it was 3-3 at the end of 45 minutes. Haven't quite kept on pace in the second half, but not a bad effort. The boos are audible now. The fans just a little bit ahead of time, calling for the final whistle to be sounded. Edwards for Wales. Giggs on the left trying to push it in. Hughes is there. Lee Jones trying to cut it back, driving it off Boulent, the central defender, number 3, and it will be a corner kick to Wales. As you can see, we're inside stoppage time. The boos get louder. They want the final whistle. Ryan Giggs is in position to take this for Wales. They trail by 2 goals. The outswinger, Melville, was the intended target. And the free kick goes against the Welsh anyway. Melville far from happy. Let's see if the referee produces a late card. He does. Holding it right into the face of Robert Edwards.
I think it might have been the captain, actually, Gary Speed, because I think he said something to the referee. There's the challenge coming in from Andy Melville. There didn't seem to be too much wrong with that. And I think Speed said something to the referee. I'm not sure if it's Speed or Edwards, but a couple of the players there really argued the point with the Polish referee. And looking at the replay, I think they've got a point. I mean, that was just a good clean header there from Andy Melville.
The consensus seems to be that it was Edwards who got the yellow card, even though Speed was right in the thick of the action as well. There's confirmation. Edwards, the substitute, the Bristol City player. And after all that, the free kick is awarded to Turkey. 1.5 minutes added on in stoppage time by Polish referee Marek Kowalczyk. They've had to work hard, mighty hard, for the points tonight against a fired-up Welsh team. But when all is said and done, it's a scene of Turkish delight.